Okay, let's just lower this a little bit. Because I actually do not need a microphone, but I will use one anyway. All right. Okay.
Speak up, please.
Good one. Good one.
So today we're going to dig into two universal truths, and they're from the book, The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. We've been using two books this month. One was Playing It Big by Pam Grout, and this is the other one. So the two truths that we're going to go over this morning are, and this one is so applicable. Obstacles are detours in the right direction. So the fact that, we don't have Stephen, I hope he gets this. I better send him a copy of this tape because he's stuck in Jamaica. Well, he lives there, but, unable to make it. But there's a reason for everything. We believe that, we live it. The second truth is the universe speaks in mysterious ways. So embodying these two universal truths will move us truly to a greater place of trusting life regardless of what may be going on in our experiences. Because there's always something going on. And of course, we include in that our Living Big by Pam Grout because that's all part of this month. And we talked about what that really meant. So obstacles are detours in the right direction. And the universe speaks in mysterious ways. And those statements sound really good, don't they?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Great titles for book chapters. So that's in her book. So obstacles are detours in the right direction. And it really does feel good, sounds good. And this is spiritual truth that we kind of believe, or we do believe fully. And the universe speaks to us in mysterious ways. We might not get it at first, but as we deepen into these spiritual truths that we talk about here all the time, we will. And we can roll those statements right off of our tongues here this morning. And as I said, they feel good. Yeah, obstacles are merely detours. That's all they are. They're not even real, but they feel real. They feel very real. And this morning I want to proclaim those truths in a deeper way, a way that we can understand. Because, we have all of these spiritual truths that we talk about, the spiritual laws that govern the universe, that govern our lives. But I really want us to get it, to understand it. So that's why I'll go with different examples, and because I want us to really embody this stuff so that we can live it. And I love this in the Science of Mind textbook. Ernest Holmes wrote this: "It's easy to rush about shouting, 'There are no sick people,' but this will never heal those who appear to be sick. It's easy to proclaim that there are no needy. Anyone can say this, whether he be wise or otherwise. But if we are to prove such statements to be facts in our experience, we shall be compelled to do more than announce a principle, no matter how true it may be." These all sound good and they're all true. So we need to do more than just announce these principles, these obstacles which we are calling detours in the right direction. And we know that this is absolutely, definitely true. But these obstacles are guiding us and directing us. And if we don't get it, we can say these things, these spiritual truths that we talk about as often as we want. They're not going to mean anything unless we really, really use them in our lives. So what is it that we need to do more of? Just like these truths, for them to be truths in our life, they must be alive. They must be active. And they must be activated to be the powers in our life. We must know embody, and become the living, breathing, walking testaments to that truth. We got to live it, in other words. It's nice to say all these affirmations, but we really have to live them. And especially in the face of, looks like, detours. Things don't, you ever notice that in life? It's not a straight line. Like, oh, here's the goal I want. I've never been big on goals, big on intentions. But if they work, it's good, use goals. But here's the goal, here I am, straight line right to it. It doesn't work in physics, it doesn't work in life. There's always these little detours. What are we learning from the detours? We need to be open and receptive because we will learn something. Something that looks like a mystery, but it will make sense to us. And as we said last week, obstacles are just detours in the right direction. And then we also said that the universe has my back. It has your back, the universe. And the universe speaks in mysterious ways. We say these things when everything is going great. When everything is going in the flow. Oh, I'm so into this stuff. This stuff is like, oh yeah, it's so true. It absolutely works. I swear by it. But then one of those bumps or obstacles pops up. Then, it's the way my day's been going, it's fine. It's one of those obstacles. I live it. I have to talk about it because I live it. I'm here living it. And so are you. We live these truths. So, it's when things go a little off kilter, and when they don't go the way that we would really like them to go, that's when the detour actually hits. Because we think we know how everything should go. I do. I know how I want things. They should go this way. That's not usually the way they go. So when we say go with the flow, we mean a lot more than just, go with the flow. We mean being open and receptive to the infinite potential that exists, because it's always going to come up. But even the universe speaks in mysterious ways, but it does that when everything's going great. When everything's going great. So, one of my favorite quotes by Ernest Holmes is this: when things look their worst, is the best time to work. It's the most satisfying. That has, unfortunately or fortunately, has been my experience. That's when we deepen into what these ways of living, I keep calling them spiritual truths, what these ways of living really mean. When things look like they're going the worst. So you may have a situation in your life right now that looks the worst. You could have. You may look around at our society, political, environmental, climate right now, and say it's the worst. It is the absolute worst. All of these things, they're all going on. They're in our face. And it is a spiritual imperative that in moments when we say that's the worst, that should be a trigger in our head. It's the worst possible thing that could ever happen to me. Pay attention to that. Pay attention, because we can immediately go to the spiritual truth, which is always the opposite of the obstacle. It's always the opposite of the obstacle. And we get to choose which way we want to think, which will always provide the effect or the outcome. So, let us stay open and know that the divine which is within us is always leading us into the right direction, always in the right direction. And that is, the universe is speaking in ways I just can't understand at the moment. Because most things that take place in life, we don't really understand why this is taking place. That's why I don't like to go to that question, why? Because it opens up a whole Pandora's box of all kinds of Usually it's opening up the ego and the old belief stuff. But what am I to learn from this? And I can never say that enough. I know I sound like I'm repeating myself. It's because I am. Because I need to hear this all of the time. I really do. So let me give you an example. Sports psychologists once did a study of elite athletes who were struck with some kind of adversity or serious injury. Initially, each responded feeling isolation, emotional disruption, and doubts about their authentic ability. Yet afterwards, each reported that they gained a desire to help others, additional perspective, and realization of their own strengths. And I read this all the time. Famous actors and actresses, yes? That they were like star athletes in college. And then some injuries sidetracked them. They thought their life was over. And then they joined a drama club, right? And they became these famous. It just goes on like that. We make our lives by how we follow. And we have so much more than just one talent. So much more than one gift to share with the world. But back to the story, it's not a story, but the example. Yet afterwards, each responded with, in other words, the fear and the doubt they felt during the injury turned into greater abilities in those exact areas. And psychologists are calling this adversarial growth. Adversarial growth and post-traumatic growth. That which, now I don't use this phrase, that which doesn't kill me will make me stronger. A lot of people use that phrase. I don't particularly use it, but anyway, it's the struggle against an obstacle. Inevitably, it will propel us forward if we are open and receptive and don't stay stuck in the problem, stuck in the mind game that we'll keep on repeating in our head. So right now I'm personally going through challenging times in my life. Things are coming up and they look to my mind like they're pretty horrible. So what this does, it forces me to go deep inside of myself. It forces me to take a look at where am I in this situation? Because if we are involved in any situation, we're part of it. So if you're going to project this is a false, first of all, I don't even like that word, but if you're going to project something, look at who's projecting it. Look at what the common denominator is in your life, and it's always going to be you. So these are the times when we go, I truly believe that what we teach here and what we teach in Science of Mind or New Thought, what this is, this oneness of life, that's what we teach, the oneness of life and empowerment, because we have within us the divine. The divine isn't out here. That doesn't even make sense, judging. The divine is within us. We are each divine beings, and we get to choose. We get to choose. So I believe that every obstacle is a clearing away of something that is no longer necessary in our own experiences. And divine guidance is occurring in every single second. Every second. And the big point is not to just, and I don't just listen to the words, not the words, but I listen to the messages, the universal messages as they appear. Because we can't plan this out. We cannot plan this out. So pay attention. If you're going through something that feels very challenging, pay attention to the people that show up, the things that they say, the phone calls that you receive, all of it. Because it's all part of the universe conspiring to bring us our highest good. And so every single experience or obstacle because it looks like an obstacle that we're going through, is there to serve our highest good. There could be a belief that's been operating in our lives that has been keeping us playing small, has been making us suffer, even if we're not aware of it. It influences every decision we make, every way we show up in life. So let's take that opportunity of knowing that obstacle is actually a new way of freedom, of freeing ourselves from that which no longer serves us. So Bernstein, in her book, gave us some counsel on how to live more fully into these truths, and I believe a way, or perhaps even more quickly, the realization of that good. It is counsel. It is counsel that I have given here many times before, but sometimes we forget. Sometimes I forget. And so it's good to repeat and to practice. And she writes this in her book, The Universe Has Your Back. She writes, the key is to let go of all outcomes. Should I stop there? Let go of all outcomes. When we get hung up on how something should turn out, she writes, then we disconnect with the flow of universal guidance. The energy behind a should mentality is controlling and manipulative. The universe does not align with that energy. Therefore, we cut off communication and receptivity. It is when we let go of the outcome that we open up our personal worldview and allow ourselves to be guided. That is so perfect right there. So perfect. So I have a couple of questions for you here today. What would you do differently if you really and truly believe? When I talk about the universe, I explained this last week or the week before, talking about that infinite guidance of that divine energy that we call God, that we call spirit, that we call whatever you want to call it. It is this divine energy. Okay, so that's what the universe is to me. So what would you do differently if you really believed the universe had your back? Something to think about. What if you knew you were always getting messages from the divine? What if you really knew that? Paid attention. Some wise person told me this week, don't look and judge people for people, but look at the behavior. Separate it. Separate the behavior from the person. And that way, that's another, for me, that was another huge, divinely guided statement in the whole situation. My obstacle looks like an obstacle. That was another part. You see, they come from so many different sources. So that can shift. If you take that when you need that, that can shift you into a different way, a different perception, a different perspective. And it's another question. How would you relax and let go of control? Let go of them. Because you really don't have it anyway. That's the crazy thing. We all think we have this control. I got this handle. I got this handle. I know exactly what I'm doing. We really don't have control over most things in our lives. We have control over how we want to respond to something. We have control over the actions we take, but real control? Like we think? So let's, right now I want us to go on a little journey together. Because this is something I want us to take internally. I really do. Of knowing, truly knowing that we are not alone. We are always divinely guided. That obstacles are illusions, even though they feel real. They will pass. So I'll invite you to close your eyes if you like. And imagine yourself sitting comfortably in a safe place that you love. And see yourself at ease, settled into the space. And know that you are held, protected, and supported. Now take a moment to acknowledge any area in your life where you think you have this obstacle that you've been controlling. And allow yourself to feel whatever feelings arise when you focus your attention on this situation. Honoring what comes up for you. And continuing to breathe long and deep. And in your mind's eye, begin to hold a vision of a small golden basket placed right in front of you. This basket is illuminated from the inside out. And when you are ready, gently place the area of your life that you've been controlling into that basket. Offer it up. Surrender it fully. And set the intention now to fully release the need to control and allow the universe to take over. Take a deep breath and honor your willingness to surrender. And now get an image of a beautiful angel stepping behind you. The angel gently places his or her hands on your face and assures you that it is safe to let go of your need to control. And then the angel picks up the basket and flies away with it, waving goodbye. You have released it to the universe. Release the need to control to the universe. And it is being taken care of. And sit in the stillness for a few seconds as a new, relaxed, maybe even a light energy is taking place. It's like a little vacation from all of the stuff in life. Thank you, universe, for helping me to see this obstacle as an opportunity. I have let go of control and now let you lead the way, regardless of how mysterious that way may be. I rest in the assurance with ease and with grace. And so it is. So I have this little reading that I would like to read to you now. It's called The Face. The stillness deep inside. In the darkness, be the light. Every day feels a little closer to where it is that you're destined for. Have faith in the promise of so much more. For every time you fall apart, there is a light to guide your journey. Stand and be strong. Don't look away. There in the mirror, you'll see my face. You'll see my face. Remember that you are not alone. Be patient as your truth unfolds. For the times you get close to breaking, don't give up. Press on and know something inside knows. It's not over. For every time you fall apart, there is a light to guide your journey. Stand and be strong. Don't look away. There in the mirror, you'll see my face. And when the world crowds your space, calm your mind and sit in silence. Remember, there's a sacred place. Looking through the mirror, you'll see my face. I see your face. And so this is really a reminder that we are never, ever, ever, ever alone. When we say the universe is here to support us, we're not just saying these nice words because they feel good. They do feel good. But to really train our brains, and yes, wash our brains. Let's brainwash. Let's wash our brains of all that old stuff. And know that there is a power for good that is always inside of us, that makes the way clear before us. That is there always to support us, to love us unconditionally. Just to know it. Maybe it hasn't hit the heart yet, but to know it. Because this is the way that I would want all of us to live our lives. I really would, knowing truly nothing can happen to us. We are safe. We are secure. This universal mind has so much more planned for us than we could ever imagine. Let's trust. Let's trust. Let's trust together. Thank you. Woo!